So today with us is Professor Lourdes Guàrdia. She's Deputy Dean of Teaching and Associate Professor at the Department of Psychology and Education at Open University of Catalonia, Spain. She's a longtime colleague of Srce and Incarnate as well, and Faculty of Organization in Informatic in Varaždin. So she knows quite well a situation in Croatia regarding the higher education, and she participated in the numerous events. She's also teaches courses on technology enhanced learning in Master in Education and ICT. She's member of EduLab research group. Her research interests are focused on e-assessment, e-portfolio, learning design methods and tools, teaching professional development and emerging digital pedagogies. She is the member of Open EU Alliance. This is European University Alliance, first ever pan-European Open University Alliance, and European Chair of Curriculum Development and Course Design at the ERDTU Empower Initiative. She's going to talk today about personalized formative feedback through generative AI in higher education. So, Lourdes, happy to have you with us. Please, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for inviting me to this MoodleMoot. It's a pleasure for me. I was invited also in a MoodleMoot in Barcelona time ago, so it's I'm pleased to be again an invited speaker in these MoodleMoot events. So it's an honor for me. And yes, so the presentation I'm going to give you now under this title emerged from a research project initiated within our institution, considering that we have programs with a large number of students in virtual classrooms. Right now we have around 90,000 students enrolled, and yet we still want to offer them high quality feedback without abandoning our teaching staff, and let me say in a scalable way. So given the opportunities that AI provides, we wanted to conduct an experiment that would allow us to deliver quality feedback within two programs, one at the undergraduate level and another at the master's level, both in two very different disciplines like engineering and education. But let me now outline the specific objectives in the next slide. As I mentioned earlier, our general objective is to develop and evaluate an AI-based assistant that supports teaching staff in providing high-quality feedback in the two scenarios I previously described. On the master's levels, we explore this test in the master's final project course, and at the undergraduate level in the Foundations of Programming course of the computer engineering degree. So what are we aiming to achieve with this specific experiment is to assess the impact of the AI assistant on enhancing the quality of teachers' qualitative feedback based on the principles of quality feedback. I will show you later on how we perform this quality feedback, and to assess whether the AI assistant enhances the efficiency of teachers in developing qualitative feedback in terms of teacher let me say, workload and the tools perceived usefulness. So to launch the project, we first developed a theoretical framework. In this regard, within a multidisciplinary research group, because we are educators, pedagogues, instructional designers, and engineers, and so on, based on the Hattie and Tipperley model, we understand feedback as a key component of formative assessment, serving as a dialogic process that helps students interpret and apply evaluative information or judgments to improve their work and learning strategies. This model includes these three levels, as you've seen in the screen. The first one is about the task level. So how well has the task been understood and completed in terms of specific feedback related to the accuracy of the work. The second level is about the process. what processes or strategies can be improved, so more focus on how to perform the task more efficiently. The third level is about self-regulation. How well does the learner regulate their own learning? And this is focused on metacognition and self-assessment. So from this model emerge the principles of quality feedback as follows. And this is very important to have a clear idea of that, because this affects how we configure the prompt later on. So in these terms, the principles that emerge from this model is about connection to learning objectives. So this should be connected very well. Connections to evaluation criteria, identification of strengths in areas of improvement, to have reference to the task development process, provision of useful resources and guidance for improvement, also encouragement for reflection and self-evaluation, should be very clear and specific. And finally, also let me say that should be supportive and motivating tone. Therefore, we need teaching staff to adopt these principles in order to help build high quality feedback. Once we establish the principles of what constitutes quality feedback, we develop, let me say, a composite prompt that works with AI assistance. So this prompt includes a generic or theoretical component, which incorporates the principles of quality feedback I mentioned before, and another that is a component with the evaluation criteria defined by the teacher during the assessment process, and typically developed using a rubric that is pre-established. Thus, it is built two layers of input. The first layer is, let me say, more stable, and as it includes the general principles of quality feedback. And the second layer, which contains the evaluation criteria, is created by the teacher that can evolve, being enriched with examples for each criterion or otherwise edited and customized. So because of this adaptability, we've called, for example, as an extended rubric. So the teacher has this rubric that is pre-established, but then the teachers can edit and can improve and can add examples, citations, and so on, related to this or criterion pre-established in the rubric. And we call this second part an extended rubric because it is editable for the teacher. Using these two components, once the teacher has evaluated the student's work, the AI generates a personalized feedback message that is sent to the student. So this prompt is based on a web-based platform developed using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The generative AI component relies on Amazon Bedrock, with the large language models being Anthropic, Claude 3 Haiku. It was programmed by a researcher professor who is an engineer and a member of the team. I can say that I personally can't provide technical details on this part because I'm not from the engineering field, but if anyone is interested in this specifically, I can put you in touch with the researcher who developed the tool. Here, then is an example of the part of the prompt that contains the generic principles to be considered when generating high quality feedback. As you can see, part of it provides context about the teacher's role, helping situate the assistant in the specific teaching scenario where the feedback will take place. So it instructs the assistant to, for example, let me say, to take into account the principles of quality feedback, highlight positive aspects first, then explain what can be improved, provide references and citations, or alternatively ask the students questions or encourage them, stay focused on the task, avoiding generic statements and aiming for maximum specificity, ensure the feedback is clear, well-structured, concise, and uses inclusive and non-discriminatory language. The tone should be friendly and approachable, but not overly informal. So finally, the prompt suggests ending on a positive note, expressing hope that the feedback will be useful, and offering availability in case clarification is needed, for example. And for example, and here we have the part of the prompt generated by the teacher, which, as I mentioned earlier, is based on a rubric with these pre-established criteria. These criteria are linked to feedback text, examples, bibliographic references, which the teacher selects after assessing the student's submitted work. This part of the prompt can be updated and evolved and adapted by the teacher as they see fit, for example. We can see here in more detail that we have the rubric criteria, sorry, which in the case must be aligned with the master's final project as well as the expected achievement level. So we also include examples, ideas and references to suggest depending on the level of achievement for each criterion, and all this selected by the teacher. So that's the teacher can select all these issues after assess the task. And then the AI assistant integrate prompt 1, which is the one that has the quality principles, and prompt 2, the one that is teacher-generated rubric-based input, and produce a highly elaborated feedback message. So this message reflects the teacher's assessment results, applies the principles of quality feedback, and is delivered to the student as a final feedback message. As we will see, for example, I can show you, but it's a pity because this is a simple example of the feedback in Spanish generated by the assistant of the AI, but it contains the basic principles of quality feedback. For example, it reinforces positive elements, suggests areas for improvement, recommends reviewing specific book chapters or articles, poses reflective questions, and ends with an overall evaluation. The next part I will show you describes the research component of the experiment, but I'll go through it quickly to focus on what's more interesting. So the conclusions we've reached with this research. So to begin with, since this project was launched just over a year ago, more or less, let me say that we haven't yet involved students in the research phase. It's planned, but not for now. And our aim has been to explore whether AI can assist teachers in generating this high quality feedback, because let me say that, for example, for a master, we can have in the same classroom between 30, 40, 50 students in the virtual classroom, but for bachelors, we have around 70, 80 students in their classrooms. As you can see, we conducted a quasi-experimental research design with mixed methods. We compare teachers' written feedback and AI-assisted feedback. We administered questionnaires and conducted focus group. Well, we just started to conduct focus group. I don't have the final results yet. These questionnaires were delivered to 11 participating instructors. We tested the approach across 14 assessment activities, and we collected at least 2 feedback samples per instructor. So it is still a modest pilot study, but exploratory by nature, and the next step will be to scale it up more broadly, so next semester. Let me show in this diagram that we can see the intervention design I mentioned in more details. As I mentioned, the students have not participated, as I mentioned, so, but the teacher assesses the student task using the rubric without any AI assistant. So this should be clear. So this is not AI assistant is doing the job for the teacher. So the teacher is reading or watching the video, so assessing the task that is delivered by the student. And then the AI assistant is providing and enriching the final feedback. So in this sense, should be clear that we have these two moments of the assessment. So then, when the teacher assesses the student task using the rubric without this any AI assistant, the AI integrates the prompts, those based on the quality feedback principles, and the teacher's rubric-based input with the prompt 1 and prompt 2. Based on this information and the initial teacher feedback, the AI generates a quality feedback message, which is the one that I showed you before. As a part of the research, we conducted a comparison between the feedback written solely by the teacher, as you can see in the screen, and the feedback processed through the AI. So this comparison yielded the following results. For example, in this slide, here you can see the results of comparing feedback generated with the support of the AI assistant in purple and the feedback written by the teacher without the support in green. In terms of strengths identification, achievement of learning outcomes, suggestions, additional resource recommendations, self-assessment and reflection, the feedback generated with AI support is considered significantly better, in our opinion. So, however, for follow-up and dialogue, motivational tone, process-related comments, future task, and assessment of the criteria, the feedback written by the teacher alone is either very similar or slightly better. Here, we can see in more detail the comparison between feedback types. So, in terms of achievement and strengths, for example, feedback 1 made by teacher is general and it's providing brief comments. Feedback 2, that is AI assisted, is more specific, it goes in more depth, it's more relevant, because provides detailed analysis of achievement and strengths, linking them to the project content. It's more high level of detail and contextualization within the activity. In terms of areas of improvement, feedback 1 made by the teacher identifies specific problems, highlights sections, provides conceptual corrections, but feedback 2, AI assisted, points out flaws, is well structured, and links weaknesses to concrete recommendations. About what happens with suggestions, feedback 1 from the teacher, it's targeted and open-ended suggestions, focuses more on reorganization that adding new content, emphasize form and structure. And feedback 2, AI assisted, provides examples and resources oriented towards methodology more generic in nature. It's richer comparing to the teacher in this sense, in this part, as a suggestions. Let me show, continuing with this comparison, feedback types. We observe the following, for example, regarding the additional resources provided. Feedback 1, coming from the teacher, provides very few, or let me say practically non-additional resources sometimes. And feedback 2, AI assisted, is consistently includes them always. On justification and explanation, feedback 1 is more concise and personalized. This is provided by the teacher, but feedback 2 is more systematic, methodology oriented, and linked to overall learning benefits. And finally, concerning self-assessment and reflections, feedback 1 uses open and broad questions that stimulate introspection, and feedback 2 with the AI assisted uses more directive questions aimed at the specific actions. So in this slide, I'm showing the results of the teacher questionnaires regarding their perception of the experience and the tool. But not yet the focus group results, as I mentioned, because we are processing now the data. This is I mark in red. We can say that, for example, in terms of perception of FitSmart's feedback quality, teachers reported positive perceptions, stating that the feedback is better, linked to task objective, integrates evaluation criteria, highlights student strengths. Let me say that it's more respectful and motivating. But however, they also identify areas for improvement, so need for more subject-specific recommendation, inclusion of learning strategies, and provision of more resources, examples, additional readings, bibliography. In terms of perceptions of FitSmart's impact on teaching, positive perception in terms of consistent integration of the evaluation criteria into feedback, we can say. Also, more moderate perceptions regarding reflection on feedback quality, enhancement of assessment skills, reduction of workload and time optimization for preparing feedback, because this is very, very relevant for us, because as I mentioned, we have many students in our classrooms, and it's really needed if we would like to maintain this quality feedback in a very high level. And finally, of tool usability, we have positive perceptions that include this useful, is easy to use, it's practical, it's clear, it's innovative, and adds value to teaching. However, motivation to use the tool in practice should be, let me say, promoted more actively. So, just to summarize the key and preliminary findings, we have that in FitSmart approach notably enhanced written feedback by increasing its clarity, coherence, structure, and specificity, making it more readable and pedagogically soundly. Greater depth and detail. So in this sense, the AI-assisted tool supports instructors in providing more comprehensive and nuanced feedback, particularly in identifying student strengths and areas for improvement compared to traditional approaches. It's more targeted guidance. It means that FitSmarts contribute to a greater number of focused, actionable suggestions, as well as prompts that encourage self-assessment and student reflection. Or a better expanded use of supplementary resources is also something that it's highlighted as a conclusion. So, because the teachers using the AI tool tend to include more external references, such as links, bibliographies, and concrete examples. So, however, these resources suggestions sometimes lack contextual explanation or depth of relevance to the task at hand. And other additional conclusions, sorry, I missed this first slide. Oh, sorry, I'm here now. So, and other additional conclusions are that we can provide a stronger justification and clarity in feedback. In this sense, FitSmarts equips instructors with enriched content that helps them clarify their reasoning, expand on evaluative points, and provide more coherent justifications within their feedback. Also, it gives a positive user perception. So because there is a clear consensus among faculty that FitSmarts generates feedback that is well aligned with learning objectives, incorporates evaluation criteria effectively, and emphasizes student strengths, all while maintaining a respectful and encouraging tone. So this also is emerging now when we are managing the focus group. So Also, we can say that provides a high usability and added value because the tool is widely perceived as useful, user-friendly, intuitive, and pedagogically innovative, let me say, because it's really new in our institution, this tool. So contributing meaningful value to teaching practices. And finally, it gives, let me say, opportunities of improvement. So in this sense, some lower scores in the questionnaires, particularly regarding targeted suggestions and individualized learning strategies, have been noted. So these areas will be explored in more depth through this focus group we are managing now and the subsequent research iterations, of course. So let me say that, as a final remark, the study highlights the need for faculty literacy in both feedback and AI to maximize their pedagogical potential. In this regard, FitSmart, that is the name that we put to our tool, is proposed as a core regulatory agent that not only complements teaching efforts by enhancing coherence, individualization, and efficiency in the assessment process, but also could contribute to faculty literacy development. So this is our final remark. Okay, that's all for the moment. If you have questions, if are more technical oriented, probably I'm not an engineer, that probably I can answer, but I can take notes and I can try to answer you by email after asking to our engineers. But if you would like to comment or to ask questions about the experiment, I'm open. So thank you very much for listening me.
Thank you, Lourdes.
That's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for a very interesting presentation. I will open the floor for discussion, but maybe my first question would be regarding the issue of motivation of the teachers. Does it mean that you have to work on with teachers so that they gain some competencies in use of AI, you know, so that they know when AI provide them some additional feedback, how should they write to students, that they know this is a really good answer, because sometimes AI can hallucinate. So especially regarding resources, you know, they can put some resources that actually does not exist. So did you think about that you should also train the teachers, you know, to gain competencies in order to be able to use AI assistant in more quality way?
Yeah, sure. So this is one of the things we are thinking about now, because we now just, the experiment, it's practically finished, but now, and of course the teachers that were involved in these experiments are all of them, let me say, experts. They know very well how to provide feedback, because in our institution we have a group, an institutional group that is addressing the feedback in our institution. So in terms of, they are providing guidelines to the teachers, they are providing specific courses, they are providing, for example, guidance in all senses. So for example, if they would like to provide a specific kind of feedback, you can ask to this team if they can support you in how to address this. And also we have courses, specific courses about the use of AI for teachers also in our institution. We just finished the second course this year. So because, as you know, AI is, well, it's changing every day. So more specifications and more opportunities and affordance are coming. And in this sense, so the institution is always updating our AI courses for teachers. And we have this feedback and AI courses at all time supporting the teachers. But we would like to introduce also the use of this tool in these courses, because the thing is that it's not just to have the literacy about how to provide feedback and how to use AI. The thing is how we can provide this high quality feedback. So in this sense, this is why we did this experiment, providing these criteria, these high quality feedback principles based on research, and we have this theoretical framework, because otherwise, you know, so it can be difficult. And also the idea is that teachers should previously select this bibliography, readings, articles, and other complementary stuff that is already linked to each criterion, because this is something that supports AI to select similar additional resources. And after that, of course, teachers should refine it and should edit and add new resources in each iteration. So this is why this tool can provide a platform that could be fitted and improved in every iteration. So
yeah,
but this is a preliminary study, so
yeah.
so
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you. I'm going to ask if there are any questions from the audience. Okay, here we have.
Thank you very much. Marko Schatten from the Faculty of Organization and Informatics. Thank you very much for the great presentation. It was very, very interesting, a very interesting tool. I really like the point that you can actually, it's very flexible. You can use it for a lot of different types of assignments and kind of make it useful for a lot of different things. One thing that I wanted to ask, how about personalization for students? Have you thought about different learning styles, different motivation styles for students, and how students could actually personalize the feedback they receive from their teachers and the tool together? Thank you.
Yeah, this is a big challenge. Also because our university, as I mentioned, is a massive university. As a fully online university, to have 70, 80 students in our classroom is not easy to manage, as you can imagine. So, and this is why we are trying to experiment with this kind of tools. The thing is that with personalizations, we have a big challenge. I imagine that it's the same in your case. So, because related to the privacy of students, when they are enrolled, we are asking questions about their profiles, but we can obtain just a few data. In this sense, we try, when we start the course, we ask the students to present themselves in a forum, also to manifest their expectations. Also, we are talking with the tutors, because we have two figures in our institution. We have the facilitator, but they have advisors. So the advisor is the person who is in contact for the whole career with the student and knows very well how the student is, the expectations, and so on. And in this sense, we try to get this data also from these advisors to know very well from this information, from the data we collect through the forums when they present itself, and also asking if they would like to comment other necessities they have, for example, and then to take this data to try to offer different kind of assignments they can select, for example. But it's very challenging. So it's very difficult right now. I think with AI, I am very enthusiastic, because I think this is one of the issues we should address in a better way than we did till now. So we try, but it's not easy. So with this tool, I think that we can personalize better in this sense. So, but we'll see. So
Thank
we
you.
need more iterations.
Yeah, we have one more question, and then we have to move on.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Lourdes, for your great presentation. Clara from Carnet here. I came a bit late, but I saw this slide where you said that AI was better on providing additional resources, while professors mostly provided none. So my question is, did you critically examine the suggested resources that were provided by the artificial intelligence?
Yeah, the thing is that, as I mentioned, with this criteria, with this rubric, the teacher, when is developing the criteria, is selecting some resources, additional resources that are linked to this criterion. And this is something that is provided to AI. And AI is taking these as examples and then is collecting other examples. For example, the issue that why we compare what is providing the teacher and what is providing the AI assistant as additional improvement of the feedback provided for the first prompt is that teacher then has time to elaborate a large feedback, a rich feedback, a high quality feedback. In this sense, if I prepare in advance the criteria of the rubric and I am selecting, when I am designing the subject, so this is a bit at the very beginning, so I have to do that. If this is ready with all these additional resources linked to this criteria of the rubric, then AI assistant can have these examples and can search more examples, and then the teacher can just need, for example, to validate it if it goes or not, and can add these additional resources to the first rubric. Okay, to the extended rubric. Yeah. Sorry, because we have these two rubrics. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. That's good. Okay, thank you so much, Lourdes. We have to move on with the program. I know there would be more questions, but we will come back to you via email if we have
sure.
more.
You can email
we have more.
me. Yeah.
So thank you for being with us today, and seeing you soon in Bologna.
No, not me. I'm not coming.
Not
Sorry,
you.
Sandra.
Oh, you're not coming.
No.
Okay, I thought
my colleagues are coming.
Okay, so thank you for being with us today. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye. Have a nice day. Bye.
Evo, znam da ste svi nestrpljivi kako pisati prompt.